So in this final example, I'm going to show you rather quickly how to compile all of those previous techniques into something closer to a final output. So I'm going to create a new file, and that will be again 1280 by 720 in this case. It'll be ActionScript free. Click OK, and I get a blank page. I'll just zoom out a little bit. What I'm going to do is create a background layer, so I'll call it BG, short for background. And in the background I will just have some basic shapes with colours. So I'll turn off the stroke for this shape at this point. There we go. And set the colour to just be a green colour for now. What I'm going to do then is use the pencil tool to draw across this shape like so. Just delete the parts of the line that I don't need. Again, this side. What it does is it splits the area, so what I can do is I'm going to put a little radial gradient in here, which will be a darkish green to a slightly lighter green, maybe not quite as light as that. And I'll just quickly amend the way that works, so I'll make it bigger and like that, maybe elongate a little bit, and then I'll select the other side, put another radial gradient on there, which in this case will be a lightish blue and a deeper blue, like so. Again with the gradient tool, I'll make it quite large this time. Maybe a little bit smaller, and then I'll pull it down so we get an effect like that. Using the selection tool now, I will lock that layer, because I no longer want to be able to select it, so that does that. Create a new layer that can be called graphics, and I'll create another layer above and call it actions. Okay. Eventually, in my actions layer, on the first scene, I'll be declaring all of my functions which I reuse throughout. So the next step is I'm going to bring into the library my audio. So I've already got all this ready. So I've got 5 WAV files. You can use WAV or MP3, and also AIFF files for audio. AIFF is Apple's audio interchange file. So in library, I'll then see those files exist. So I'll call that wmelon pear orange banana and apple. Okay. And next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the graphics from my earlier example in. I'm not going to bring the movie clips because I want to change the animations. What I'll do is I'll just drag these onto the stage, the apple and the banana graphic symbols. I can now close that file down, and you'll see that they're there in my library. There we go. I do want them to be movie clips, so I'll make them into movie clips by convert to symbol. So this will be called Apple MC, which is a name for the library. This one can be called Banana MC. Okay. Let's delete that. So Apple can be first. And the next thing I'm going to do is create the other associated graphics and movie clips, so I'm going to need to create a pear, an orange and a watermelon. With the pear, I think what I'll do is I'll start with an oval tool, give that a flat green fill, like so, and the outline can be black, and I'll create a circular shape. And what I'm going to do then is use the subselection tool to find the point in the mid top and pull it up like so. And I think I'll then use the selection tool to just curve these bits out a little bit, make them a bit broader. Which gives you a bit more of a freehand thing going on. And what I'll do then is I'll draw a leaf. Again, use the elbow tool, a slightly different colour green. So just rotate that a little bit. Copy and paste another one in. Rotate that a little bit too. Get these both together. Set them on top. Okay. What I'll do then is I'll change the colour to a radial gradient, like so, which will need to be a green colour again. And green to a slightly darker green, like so. And I might also put a darker green at the top, like that, and then I'll amend the gradient using the gradient transform tool. So what I'm going to do is put it like that, rotate it so that it's pointing upwards, elongate it like that, and just change the swatch a little bit. There we go, so it changes into a less than flat colour. Select the whole thing, right click, convert to symbol. I'll call it a graphic first, which will just be pear. I'll then turn the whole pear into a movie clip, which will be called Pear MC. That one's in the library now, so I'll delete that. I'm going to start organising things in my library by inserting folders. So I'll have an audio folder, graphic, and a movie clip. And what I'll do is I'll move all of these different symbols and objects into their corresponding folder so that the library is a little better organised. There we go. Okay, so next on the list we had was orange, and orange is obviously going to be drawn using the oval tool with quite a bright orange colour. I'll hold shift when I'm drawing it to create a circle, and that could be that. For this example I might just put a very basic gradient on it, just from bright orange to a slightly darker colour. Maybe even a slightly redder orange. There we go. I'll just give it a little bit of body. Let's rotate that, actually put it down the bottom. Like that. Okay, and again, double click to take the outline and the fill. Right click, convert to symbol, graphic, orange. Okay, again right click, convert to symbol, this time movie clip, orange, MC, and then put those in their corresponding folders. So finally I'm going to create a watermelon. So I'll use the oval tool again to create an oval of that shape, and what I'll do is I'll just highlight the fill, change that to a pinky colour, and we will go from pink to kind of yellowy green colour in the gradient. Solid colour radial, maybe a bit too bright there. And then we go to the yellowy colour in the middle, and then we'll make this bigger. That's it. Like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it in half. So I'm going to use a line across the middle. I'll hold shift to keep it straight, or roughly across the middle. This will allow me to I don't think I've quite managed to cut straight across it. The best way to do this is to cut straight across to make sure that you've intersected both lines. That will allow me to delete that bit. And the edges there and there. What I can do is then take the bottom part, which will become a thicker stroke, with a green colour, maybe a lighter green than that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the cap to none, and that therefore flattens them off where it would join with this part. Let's delete that black line. Right click, convert symbol, watermelon, and again right click, symbol, watermelon, MC. So the first one I did wasn't a movie clip, so I'll just change that here to right click, properties, graphic. Okay, and again the graphic goes into the graphic, the watermelon movie clip goes into the movie clip. And because it's on the stage, we'll start with the watermelon. Okay. So using what we've learned before, we will go into the timeline of the movie clip, and this time what we're going to do is we're just going to let it appear on stage without any clicks from the user, just to reach a final resting place. So I will put a frame in it, 24 frames, insert frame, right click, create motion tween, insert keyframe position, and then in the first frame move it off stage like so. So it should play in like this, which are roughly in the centre. Goes through. Now I'm going to have an actions layer which will allow me to stop it by putting a keyframe in here. Stop. And then we just quickly go back to scene 1. Watermelon needs to be on the watermelon on the graphics layer. Currently I've got it on the actions layer, so I'm going to cut it, select graphics, paste in place, then in actions I'll put a stop. So we should be able to test the first scene now. There we go. It goes into the center frame, and that's where it will stop. Okay. So what we want to do then is to add an additional button which is going to go throughout every scene, and this will just be the next button. So I'll create that using a rectangle. It can be the top corner, I think, so I won't have anything there visibly. This will be a nice size. Double click, I'll take the properties of the stroke right down, change the fill to a flat fill so that text works over the top of it, maybe a different colour. Okay, and then what I'm going to do at the top of it is put some text, and it's going to be white text, I think. And that will be next. It's a little bit on the big size, so I'll bring that down. Put it over the top. Make sure it's over the centre. And I'll hover over the whole thing, and I'm going to cut it. Place it on the graphics layer. Using right click, paste in place, it'll put it back where it was, and then I'm going to convert it to a symbol. In this case, I will just call it a button, and that can be next. We then properties need to give it an instance name, next underscore btn, and watermelon will have wmelon underscore mc, lowercase. And to keep with the convention of starting with a lowercase on every name. Okay, so to make this work we're going to need to add some code so that the next button always takes us to the next scene, and each scene will need to have a stop at the start, which we've got. So I will put in on the actions layer an event listener for next underscore btn, which will listen for mouse event. Top click, and after a comma the function will be go next. And then I'll declare that function. And the instruction will simply be, from the last time, next scene. So that should give us a nice loop through. Next thing I need to do is to make it so that when you click on the watermelon, that it says the word. And so I'll add the event listener for that. Which will be again a mouse event. Click, and this will go to sound control. So I'll create a function called sound control to handle which sounds are. I'll declare that underneath. Okay, function sound control, and that listens for a mouse event again. Curly bracket, press return. Just make this bigger so you can see the text a little bit better. Okay, nice and big to see. And we'll be able to fit most of this on. Okay. So, the first thing we'll look for is if key.target .name equals, and then we look for the name of the instance. And you'll have to ignore this part here. This is an underscore. The typeface is not showing underscores for some reason. Try and fix that by choosing something else. Okay, it's slightly harder to read than Courier, but we can see the underscores at least. So I'm going to close that, put a curly bracket in, press return, it will put one in for me. And then what I'm going to do is var, and the sound is going to be new melon, in this case keep it nice and short, which is going to listen for or create watermelon equals new watermelon brackets, and then we'll call new melon to play, and then we'll just test that. Okay, it's looping at the moment. I've got some issues. Let's just see what it says. Watermelon's not a power constant, so I need to find out what I've called it. I've called it W melon. Okay, so I'll go to that. And instead of it saying watermelon here, I'll say W melon and W melon there. Test that again. Let's give that a listen. Okay. Should run that. Tag and watermelon underscore MC. See what I've called that. Seems to be matching. Okay, so all we can do first off is test with a trace that this is running. Okay, for some reason it's not picking that up. Try current target. That works. Okay. We can live with that. Fix that. No longer need this trace statement to tell me that it's working. Yeah, it's working. We've got sound reinforcement. Okay. Now, moving forwards, we will want to accommodate every different symbol that we've got. So we've also got Apple, which will be called Apple underscore MC, and that will create a new Apple for that one, Apple for that, Apple for that. We'll also need one for pair. See if we can do a final replace on that. Let's do it, just the selection. Okay. So we'll look for pair underscore MC, which will be new pair of type pair, which will create a new pair like that. I'll refer to it there. We've also got orange and banana to take care of. So I've just copied and pasted that in, change that to orange, do some copying and pasting to make this a little bit quicker. So that's just been done with Control C, Control V to copy and paste. Okay, so that's all of those taken care of. They've been copied and pasted within the two curly brackets of sound control. I'll just put some spacing in there so I can see the difference. So we've got our next button, we've got our event listener sorted out for this scene, and we've got our function called sound control to run for the whole thing. We just need to import sound to be sure that that works on all applications. So that's flash media dot sound. I should ensure that everything works. At this point I'm going to save it as fruit example 1. Save that, and then I'm going to duplicate the scene, sorry. So you'll find that in Window, Other Panels, Scene. Okay, so I'm just going to test this with system audio on, so that should also provide the audio for you to hear it. There's watermelon. Next.
Pear. Banana. Orange. Watermelon.
And then next. And it's cyclic,
Apple.
because we're using next scene, it'll just carry on through. And that's a very simple application. Finished. That'll be the end of this series. Okay, so I'm going to insert some scenes by duplicating the scenes. So the first one can be called watermelon scene, just to make sure there's no name conflicts. The second one I'll call apple scene. And what I'm going to do for each of these scenes is go into the actions. I won't need to do the imports again, I've already done that. I will need to stop. I will need this line for the event listener for the next button. I won't need this bit here. I will need this line for the event listener there, but I won't need the definition of the function, so I'll delete everything there. So they already exist in the first scene. Now what I'll do is I'll change this to apple. I'm going to go to properties and swap watermelon for apple MC, and I'll start with it off the screen, double click, and in the timeline I'm going to create an animation across 24 frames, insert frame, right click motion tween, choose last frame, bring it in to the centre roughly, add the actions layer, put a keyframe in at the end, and then add the stop. Like so. Okay, just maybe just test the first two scenes. Okay, undefined property apple underscore MC, so I need to just make sure that this is called apple underscore MC. Okay, let's click on the watermelon. Click on next. Apple. Okay, that seems to be working. So I'll proceed forwards. So now I'm going to duplicate the apple scene because I've taken all of the code out that's not necessary. This one can be called pear scene. The actions for pear scene, I'll change that from apple to pear. I'll select the symbol, call it pear underscore MC, and then swap the instance to pear. There we go. Might be a little bit large, maybe just make it a little bit smaller. And then timeline, same thing again, right click at 24 frames, insert frame, right click motion tween, drag it to the centre, actions, right click, insert keyframe, stop. That one should work okay. Duplicate that scene. This next one can be called banana scene. Again, call this banana underscore MC. Swap the symbol to banana. Okay, and make that a little bit bigger. Then double click on that. 24 again. Insert frame. Create motion tween. And action layer. Insert keyframe. Into actions. Stop. Back into banana scene. Well, I'm straight now. Hopefully it's just a case of testing. Last but not least, orange scene. So then convert this from banana MC into orange MC. Swap the clip. Click OK. And then go up a little bit. Double click. 24 frame. Motion tween. Position. Holding shift helps you to keep it at the bottom of the stage where it was. Actions. Set keyframe. F9 for the actions. Stop. There we go. Close that up. Just double check that I called that orange. I did. So now we'll test it and see if there are any issues anyway. Okay, watermelon. Works. Next. Apple works. Pear works. Okay. Issue with banana. Okay. So I just need to go back into the scripts for banana and orange, and I think I've got a fair idea what that is. So in the script inspector, in the actions window, sorry, I can actually see different different scenes and the scripts within them. So we've got orange scene and banana scene here, and it's because it's referring to pear. I didn't actually change those in my rush to get it completed quickly. And then orange. So we'll just double check that again. Watermelon, next. Apple. And then next, pear, and banana, and then next, orange. So all of those are working. All I need to do now is, I'll just run through this again with system sounds on for the final example. So